let's talk about these folks over here. Love and Marriage DC is
We love
back.
a
I
merge.
feel like they came back with a bang. I feel like this season might be pretty entertaining. I feel like they gave us a lot to discuss in the first episode. The first thing I wanted to talk about was Monique, right? So we know Monique left the show and they spent like the first few minutes kind of discussing Monique and Chris. Y'all know they were supposed to have been separated or whatever they got going on, and they weren't on the show. I want to know if y'all felt like they spent too much. Let me see. I want to know if y'all felt like they spent too much time talking about them or if it was even necessary to discuss Chris and Monique. Because I just feel
I'll,
like a lot of shows, when somebody's not on there, they kind of move on. They don't really talk about it. But
I'll,
what y'all think?
I'll go ahead and speak for production, child. They did not know at the time. Like at the time that they're taping, they really did expect her to show up. They thought she was still filming. So I think that with that, knowing that, that's the only reason I'm gonna say, yeah, it makes sense for them to be questioning why she isn't there. She was supposed to be here. She's on the call sheet. Because that is weird that we're supposed to be taping and you haven't told any of us that you're not gonna be there. You're kicking it with everybody, going to pool parties and shit, but you're not telling us that you're not gonna come. So yeah, I feel like it makes sense, but we only gonna take that for another 2 episodes before we like, all right, now we done. That's it. Fast forward.
I felt
Another
like it
shit.
was.
That was the only
I
episode for me. I
thought
don't want to hear
that.
about Monique after this.
Right, that's how I feel.
It's
Like
not
we
another two
good
for
at
I
this
me.
point.
mean, no, I said the only reason I said another two is because there's gonna have to be the one where everybody finds out that she's no longer on the show.
Got it. Yes. So one and two
Um,
Yes.
next. Okay, that
And then
makes
we should
sense.
be done.
I guess so. If
Hmm.
they were expecting her to actually show up to the birthday party and stuff, so I guess that makes sense. But I did feel like if she left the show because of that, I feel like production kind of was like it was a shot at her. Like, oh yeah, you left because you didn't want to talk about it, but we're gonna slick talk about it anyway. That's how I
Very good
kind of took
point.
it.
That's a
Cause
good
I'm like, it
point.
didn't even like y'all cut
Yes,
y'all film so much
I agree
stuff
with
and shoot around so much stuff. Like, we know Love and Marriage Huntsville constantly talk about things that were filmed that we didn't get to see. So it's like they did not have to put that in there, even if they filmed it. But y'all
Hmm.
chose to, so it was kind of like y'all, to me, kind of took a shot. And when I listened to one of Carlos's podcasts or interviews, he kind of mentioned somebody that all they did was complain, and a lot of people kind of wondered whether or not that was Monique. And so I'm like, I don't know, they could have
I
took a shot
don't
at her.
know. I don't think that was Monique because I think Monique is a people pleaser. So if you pay attention to the way the shit went at the end of last season, you could pretty much tell that Homegirl was gonna go along with the crowd to stay on that show. She was going along with all kind of foolishness in that interview we did because she wanted to stay cool with them girls. So I don't think
Mm-hmm.
at that time she had any intention on leaving. I really do think the whole story about her marriage coming out is what probably prompted her to decide, you know what, it's probably in my best interest not to come back because people aren't going to let me live it down. They're going to blame me like they did last season. And it's going to be all this pressure to stay in a marriage and not be stupid. Like she probably saw that it was not going to be easy for her going through this moment on the show and decided, you know what, I really don't need this shit. So let me just go ahead and quit while I'm ahead once
She
that
stayed
story.
Mm-hmm.
running.
But I
Show
feel
was
like,
running.
yeah,
This is what I can't stand. Monique, you can't. You left Real Housewives of Potomac. You got your locks. You got your crystals. You got your essential oils. You
love the
went
locks.
to the locks look good. You went to Own Network. You said that you wanted to show people who you really were because you wanted to control the narrative. Then, as soon as people get close to finding out what really goes down, you leave again. So, I don't know what it is that makes her want to come on these shows in the first place. I just really hope she hang it up. I saw something on Twitter the other day where somebody posted a picture of Monique in the early seasons of Potomac, and they're like, "Oh man, like we want her back." She was like, "I am literally not this chick anymore." But to
Hmm.
me, I think Monique leaves whenever there's a conflict in who we perceive her to be and who she wants us to think she is. And
Yeah.
I wish she would stay
Mm.
around to actually just say who she is. And honestly, I think she don't want to continue to be on the show. When I say running, I think that there's an identity crisis where part of her, I don't know this lady life, okay? This is my observations from watching on TV. Part of me believes she truly do not want to be with Chris no more. And I think she knows that if she continues to show us her marriage, she's going to have to be faced with some of the thoughts that she put in the back of her mind.
Yes,
So that's why she tried to leave. So I'm just
absolutely.
like, Monique,
Absolutely.
it's just
Mm-hmm.
we don't never get you don't ever show your cards the way you say you're going to on these reality shows, and you always running. So
But
I
a lot
hope
of
that this
people don't.
fits.
Mm.
A lot
But
of people don't, but
yeah,
they show the cards that I feel like you should show. So majority of people show the cards that you should on reality TV. Monique, no, when we see her on TV, we want to know about her family and Chris. Like we
yeah,
want to know about her marriage. We
yeah.
do. And every time that is at stake, she runs. What else do we want to know about Monique?
No, I agree. But I also feel like that's kind of like a real person response to that shit. Like
It
essentially,
is a real person
Mm-hmm.
response. Yeah.
you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So like I also can't 100% be upset with her about it, but I do understand it. But you know what it is though, Nisi? I feel like a lot of people have been watching reality TV for a long time and thought they had figured out the formula to come on TV and argue with other people and not have to share their real life. And
Mm.
what you find out is that that only holds up for so long until people are looking for like a real guttural version of you. At some point, you're going to have to show something that you don't want to show.
Yeah.
And that's just the realization of it. And I think because she is such a type A personality that wants to be in control and all of that, I think that she won't allow
Mm-hmm.
herself to be seen in public in that way. But I also don't blame her because the little that we did see, people ate her up about.
Well,
So
that's because you left and came back and acted like you was gonna be different and that you was gonna be transparent. It would have been different
I'm
if
in her
you
marriage.
had. Oh well, both for me. If you had left Potomac and not came back and just decided that you didn't want to share your life, that's
Mhm.
fine. But
Right.
for you to leave, come back to another network, talk about how authentic you are, how different you are, how things are gonna be different, and then the minute somebody says something about you in a blog, you don't need the shit no more. Like, don't. What are you leaving and coming back for? I
Mm.
don't get it.
I think she thought she was ready and she was not. I think
Clearly,
she thought she could do it. And once the shit
Yeah,
really came
probably
down
so.
to it, it was like, yeah, no, I can't do this shit. This too much. I think when she was holding everything together, it was easier to show. But once everything is really falling apart, that's not for the regular person, you really don't want people to see you and your spouse in the actual breakup of it. Because it get nasty.
Yeah.
Don't want people to like hold both of y'all responsible forever for what happens in this moment where everything is really fucked up. So honestly, as much as I feel like it just shows you wasn't ready for reality TV, I also feel like it was a smart decision on her part if that's what protects her peace at the end of the day. Because this show this season, Lord, is giving mess all over the place. But I'm wondering if the main cast members are going to be able to keep it real themselves because I feel like they did the same shit last season, making it all about winter. So they didn't have to really be honest about what they were going through. And even though this first episode we saw a lot with Jamie and Lil Jamie, I feel like they still gonna glaze over why it is Arena is wasting away. I feel like we still gonna, act like Quick is a better husband than he really is to Ashley.
Let's
So
not.
I don't know. I don't know if it's actually going to give or if they're going to rely on the friends and Winter
To
to actually
ooh.
bring the drama.
Ooh. Well,
it
let
look like
us.
everybody gonna
I
be in
hope they don't
drama.
make that mistake.
I hope not.
I hope they don't make that mistake. Joy and Clifton have joined the show. I'm thinking I'm going to like them a little bit. They're moving in together. I didn't know he had two kids, so I don't know if we're gonna see the kids on the show. But Joy and Clifton are moving forward in their relationship. And one thing that Clifton did that I really liked was when they were at the dinner. I'm sorry, at the birthday party, and Ashley was coming for Joy, talking about that lady can't talk to single moms about being ready to love because she's not a mom. Girl, you're a married single mom. Like, shut up. Okay. But
You said
anyway, when it comes to Joy, I like that he kind of bigged her up in front of them. Like,
it. Mhm.
I was like, okay, Clifton, I kind of like this. Like, if ain't nobody else got your back, I'm gonna have your back in this moment. And I kind of appreciated that. Even though I know the people will be like, well, he need to stay out of women's business. But I appreciated it.
While I appreciated it, I appreciated Ashley even more for calling the thing a thing. Because when I watched the trailer and I saw that Ashley was getting into it, with everybody, I was like, you know what? Well, for me, it was whenever Joy said to her, "So what you made me?" I was like, damn, I might like Joy this season. But
Hmm.
then once I seen Ashley say to her, "Why are you speaking to single moms if you're not even a mom?" Period. I was like, that's a really valid question. That's a good ass question. And I don't think she should have saw it as shade. It's just giving fraud. Like that's just weird. Um, I did
But
like
if a
the
network
Timothy and
invited
Jacob.
her,
I'm not
but if
turning
a
down.
network invited her to be
I'm
a
not turning
part,
down no check.
I
You
wouldn't turn
absolutely
down a speaking engagement if
at
that's
all.
another avenue for me if I've already given up my singing career. You see what I'm
Which is a
saying?
mistake that
Uh,
she made, obviously. Because
I
I
don't
said that shit.
know.
Not you
You
giving up your
said
career.
yeah, she gave up her career. I mean, personally, I like to be out of way. I wouldn't do it. If
Mm.
somebody asked me to come speak to an audience that had nothing to do with that just doesn't. I wouldn't do it because I feel like that's you got to sit up there and pretend. Like I can't fake for a check or pretend for a check. To me, I just it's not genuine, so I wouldn't do it. There's other opportunities. Clearly, she's on the show, so I'm with Ashley on this one. Like, why are you speaking to single moms? I could see if you was just speaking to women of a certain age group about being ready to love. You know, something that you
Hmm.
something more broad, but you have never mothered a child before. That's different.
It probably was from the
I
standpoint of
don't
just
know.
having kids. Maybe it was from the standpoint of finding love with a man that's a single parent and not so much being one yourself. But I also feel like in real life, I'm not turning down Steve Harvey because I'm not a single mom. So like I feel like even though I get it, I agree. When Ashley said that shit, I was like, I'm not mad at her for saying that shit. But when you tell her that she should have passed up on a check for that shit, I probably would have been like, that's when I felt like, okay, yeah, now we doing too much. Because at the end of the day, you willing to sit up here and get a check for some bullshit. So I don't know why you mad at her talking about her.
Right.
She said, I wouldn't be able
Yeah.
to talk to single moms, but you literally said you was a married single mom.
She did say
Right. And
that.
that's my thing. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's something about it I just didn't like. It was like you speaking from your own insecurities or whatever you got going on that you would project onto this woman what you wouldn't do. That's what you wouldn't do. Don't tell me that I shouldn't do something because it's not something that you would do. Like, okay, and that's you. Let me go get my check. Have a good day. Like,
For
that
me,
didn't
it's
make
just
sense.
giving
Like, you can't
fraud.
even keep your man at home to help you
Giving
wake your
fraud for
child
me.
up. Like,
It is giving fraud, but the whole thing is giving fraud. Why are y'all going to talk to Marjorie and Steve Harvey about finding love as a single mother, and then they bring it on people from Ready to Love? Like, girl, what are we talking
Wait,
about
is it
here?
Steve Harvey? They said Steve Harvey.
Yeah, it was a Steve
yeah,
Harvey
it's Steve Harvey.
event. Yeah, and they
Hmm.
invited people from Ready to Love. She wasn't the only one from Ready to Love. She was one of the winners. So that's probably why
Okay,
they
that
had her
makes
there.
sense. When
Yeah.
if it's a panel, that makes sense. But if it's a single speaking engagement, like that's a lot of pressure to sit on the stage and talk to these people about something that you can't relate to.
Yeah, nah, it was
Oh
a
yeah,
panel.
nah, it's supposed to be a panel. Yeah.
Mm.
That's why I was like, well, she can come from a different perspective of being a
Yes,
woman entering a relationship with a man having children,
exactly.
and
I see that.
so that's where I was thinking she could come from
Because you do
with.
need to give that perspective, because a lot of the women that are entering into relationships with men, even if they do have their own kids, we all know that a lot of times these niggas don't be doing shit with their kids. So women don't really have to move around their children the way they have to move around the woman's children. So if you actually have to come into the situation and move around this man's children and be a part of their life, there is something to be said for that, for the audience of women that are going to be with men that got
Hmm.
kids at this age, you know? Because they can say that shit, but they
Right.
got a lot of women that be like, nah, my kids at the house with me. I'm not doing all of this with you. With you and the two, three different baby mamas, and we gotta go back and forth and all of that. All these kids is here, nigga. I'm not doing all this with you. Okay. So that, I'm
Mm.
sure there's some women that feel like that. They cut Joy off and wouldn't let her explain. The moment she said single moms and no longer listen to her. That is
Hmm.
true. They did kind of hop on and didn't let her finish, but it was also edited. Either way, I'm gonna go back to saying that I feel like Joy and Clifton are very performative.
Why you
Mm,
say that?
mm.
They're because like even the way they just are, they're very performative. It feels like even the confessionals, that's what it was. In the confessionals, Joy is talking like she's written it out already. And it gives me, and then also proposing
Mm.
on the local news and then acting like y'all got married on national TV.
It's definitely
It's giving
that
you
was
want to perform your
performative.
relationship with
They
people.
needed everybody to know.
Yes. Oh, the other couple from Ready to Love that we just saw get engaged on that episode not too long ago.
Simone and Rashid.
Yes, they also give, we perform our relationship very well for people, which means we know how to
Mm,
outwardly show people that we enjoy each other and that we are happy to be together, but it's in a way that makes people question whether it's real or not. Because it's for
mm-hmm,
the effort of being on TV, and we know that it's for the effort of showcasing that we have the ideal something for everybody, and I
Mm.
think they get something out of that emotionally and mentally, both of them. But yeah, I felt like it was performative. But you know, they look like they have good sex. But
mm,
you know,
Mm. Oh, Clifton and
okay.
Joy.
yeah, Clifton and Joy.
Yeah.
I guess.
We hope they're happy.
I understand
Yeah.
where what's the I guess, Jamie?
I don't know. They was trying to show us those positions, and I was just like, this isn't giving. But maybe the clothes were on or something. I'm not sure. But let's to the moon. Ashley and Quick. So nothing has changed really in their relationship. Quick has gotten even more busier than what he was in the past. The only thing is that Ashley is just as busy as him. So they're having a conversation, which is very awkward to me because their son doesn't wake up on time. He's like, what, 14, 15? He doesn't get up on time, so he needs help getting up on time. Okay, I think he has his own alarm, but sometimes he just doesn't get up, so Ashley has to help. And Quick feels, which was very, I said we must be missing part of this conversation because Quick feels
Yeah.
like that's going to be the best way for him to become a man, which is not having help getting up in the morning as a teenager entering high school. I could see if he was like a junior or a senior, but what's wrong with her waking him up? And it's shame on you for trying to tell this lady what she needs to do. Let him miss school a little bit. Like you don't even be there. So if she gotta take the walk of shame to the school to see the people to address stuff, you're not even gonna be in the room to sit with her to address it. She gonna be there by herself. I hate to hear it.
Go ahead,
What
Niecy.
you say?
I just feel like that's that trauma talking. When he said that and he was like aggressively angry about it, like the tone of his voice was
Oh
aggressive. I
yeah, he
don't
was
mean
very
physically.
loud. Yeah.
I laughed my ass off because I was like, damn, is something really wrong with you? Because tell me what 14 or 15-year-old don't mind missing 2 or 3 days of school to stay home. That's
Mm,
so backwards for you to think that it's going to hurt him to not go to school by missing his alarm. So I just
Stupid.
think, yeah, it makes me think about parents or adults who
Are jealous of their
still
kids.
need parenting. Yeah, he's yes, jealous. He missed that part of parenting. And you can tell that Ashley, well, she said it in the first season. You can
Hmm.
tell that she has parented him as well as the children. And
oh, she
I'm
did
just
say
like,
that.
she did say that, and you could tell that you didn't get that. So yeah, it was just real awkward. And it was real telling because it's like, what 15-year-old boy ain't gonna miss school if he can? You're not making sense.
I want to read
Mm,
this comment. Omar, baby, let me check you right quick, but she can't be
mm-mm.
complaining. Let me tell you something. From what we understand, Quick don't do really a lot of shit. He don't do shit for them kids. So she can complain about whatever she want to complain about to him because he don't really help her. It's all on her. And essentially, I know a lot of y'all are so used to being latchkey kids and having to take care of yourselves at such a young age that you think that every 14-year-old should be able to get up early in the morning and get themselves up and ready for school. But baby, I'm sorry, I didn't. I wasn't. When I was 14, it was still very hard to get up in the morning, especially if you did a lot of shit in school. If you did a lot of, my mama used to be at work until 10 o'clock at night, and I would sometimes have to be there with her and then go home and get ready for bed and then still wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. So sometimes I needed my daddy to beat on the door and say, hey, Tish, get up.
Right.
Like,
Because
I
here's
need
the thing. When they were in the room talking, they were talking about he's a kid. She was saying he's a kid, he needs help. I'm like, girl, no, he human. Try he human. Cause we be grown as hell and still don't be wanting to get up quick. You should know with all the jobs you
hello.
got. You should
That's
know. Like, what are you
Only get
talking
up
about?
if it involves money. If it don't involve
thank you.
money, I'm staying in bed.
But no, but thank you for saying that though, Jamie, because I said the same thing. Based on the commentary and the comments from a lot of people, I feel like y'all want them kids to be more responsible than y'all are. You have a hard time getting up at 6 o'clock in the fucking morning, and you want the 14-year-old to be able to do it, the one that's hormonal and still growing and using a lot of his energy up throughout the day and is not settled into
That's
his
that.
grown person mind and body.
Quick
Like,
don't want to have to worry about him because he ain't got time for him. That's why he want him
exactly.
to hurry up and become a man.
And
It's
another thing is
also
they like to stop parenting when the child becomes a teenager because that's when they want it to be easier for them. But that's usually when you have to show them even more so how to take care of themselves so things don't fall by the wayside. And y'all wonder why y'all teenagers be out here doing the fucking most. But I'm gonna leave y'all alone because I ain't got no
Mm.
kids.
from
Mm.
a if you really want to umbrella it, it reminds me of every. I feel like everybody has experienced this in some way. It's the you should because I had to, or you should do this because I had to, or like it. Just think about like the amount
Yeah.
of Caucasian people who we know who they go to college, get a degree, graduate, their parents give them a down payment on the house. Even if you have parents who are able to do that shit, a lot of times they will not because they didn't have anybody to do it for them. And I feel like if you just umbrella it up to that, Quick is going all the way down to waking up in the morning, and that's traumatic. And I think that he needs some damn therapy. We had Big Jamie talk about the kids of the '90s. Let's talk about the parents. It starts with the
Hello.
parenting.
Hello.
Child.
Because Jamie, I feel like it was really like sabotaging little Jamie. Y'all, as somebody who grew up with a daddy that was a resource to a lot of people, if you got a record and somebody tell you they gonna get you a job, they mean that shit. Meaning when you go and get the job, your record is not gonna be an issue. How you set your son up with a job knowing he got a record and that's what keeps him from getting a job, and then you mad at him for not getting a job? It was like you set him up to fail.
Well, see, I thought he applied for something different. It sounds like he was telling him, well, I don't know about the other job. From my understanding, it sounded like Jamie was trying to tell him, go into security. And his son was saying, no, that's what I got from it. So and you
That was
might,
after the
from the
fact.
job. Okay.
That
So
was
I was
after
really
the
finna
fact.
speak to
Yeah.
Jamie
Because the
being a
text
person that just
message,
don't want to work.
well, when he first, like, I feel like that might be a
So that
little
was a
bit of
job he got. I thought that was a job
his
Jamie
daddy
went and
told him it
found.
was a sure thing. His daddy told him, go and get this job. It's a sure thing. And he went and got the job and they pulled his record and didn't give him the job. So I was
And didn't
like,
they talk about this at the end of last season? I really feel like they said he had a job lined up,
They probably
but
did.
they probably
uh,
did. I don't remember. But it wasn't even
mm,
just that. It was
They
also
probably
the
did.
way he talked about his son to Quick. Like, you didn't
Child.
listen, I get it. You want to vent to somebody, but you have to be careful who you vent to about
Not
your
quick.
kids. Because Quick has basically like internalized what you told him as Lil Jamie's a bad kid, and I need to make sure that my son don't grow up like that. Like,
Ooh.
and I don't like that because I feel like nobody's talking about why Lil Jamie is like the way he is. Y'all know what I feel. I feel like Big Jamie is emotionally and probably somewhat abusive to Arena and it's something into the kids, but he got anger issues. You a cop, all of that shit screams anger issues and not knowing how to control
mhm,
yourself. And you
mhm.
drink and you probably philandering, you look real good. Like it's all given. You suck from everybody in your family in one way, and they
Mm.
just have to deal with it and then try to be perfect. And I think Lil Jamie is cracking under the pressure. I think the oldest daughter has kind of removed herself in some ways.
You can
And
tell.
yeah, and the middle
Yeah.
son got all the attention because he had the disability. But watch that one, Jason. That's the one y'all gonna have to worry about being a problem. If I'm reading it right, because to me, as much as like he seemed like the type of person that's gonna be an asshole to all of the women that he in relationships with and expect you to deal with it because he's blind. But I'm gonna leave
I no, I
I
agree
don't
with
know.
you. I was thinking the
I don't
same
know.
thing because I had the same analysis. When I was thinking about Big Jamie, I was thinking of how he's impacted everyone in his family. Like just that kids of the 90s comment was so broad, and I felt like that was him avoiding all accountability for how he is in his relationships. We seen how the stepdaughter was able to read him for who he was. She not as traumatized by it because she was older probably, where she, like that's my daddy, but I see how he is. Maybe he didn't feel the same authoritativeness that he did with the kids that he actually birthed.
probably felt more careful about it because she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't biologically his.
Yes. And
Mm-hmm.
so she was able to sit
Mm.
back and watch. And on top of that, she's the only girl. So she was able to sit back and watch how he did the first two.
Shy.
So I feel like Lil Jamie has it hard because for one, he don't have a disability. And the what Jason, he's the one who I feel like he's the main attraction because of his disability, just like Bonnie said. I agree. I think that that's going to be the one because you cannot tell me that he does not have issues
I didn't think.
that I'm not going to say they're the same as Lil Jamie, but he has issues from their daddy as well, and it's probably not going to present themselves until he get on his own.
Y'all, he was balled into the fetal position in the hallway at this party after they had that conversation. He obviously is, to me, every time I look at Lil Jamie look like he want to cry. Like he looks
Hmm.
depressed,
He does.
disheveled. He looks like he's not
Oh.
processing his emotions right. And he is entitled and he is spoiled. But I would like to remind y'all that that's his parents' fault. Because,
Yeah.
like he said, they wanted to give him everything he wanted. And I'm gonna tell y'all nothing parents don't like to be real about. They be having their own shit going on, be wrapped up in their
Mm-hmm.
own personal dramas with their relationships and all of that type of shit. And they kind of like throw money at their kids, especially if they got it, as a way to solve issues with them. Like, I don't have
Mm-hmm.
the time, I don't have the patience, so I'm gonna throw money at the problem. So now, when Lil Jamie is an adult, you can't throw money at him no more because now that's what he wants. He wants you to just throw money at him so he can get what he wants and go on about his day. But he really needs therapy. And I feel like they're still too toxic as older people to recognize that that's what he really need right now. Like Lil Jamie need therapy.
And touching on
I
that
don't think he would
girlfriend,
go if he did.
It should be forced.
I
Like
think
it should be a like an ultimatum type of situation.
I think the reason why he's able to say his girlfriend did so much is because the shit that his parents did for him, he don't really need. He needs an emotional connection. And I think that he values the emotional care that the girlfriend gives him over the shit
Nurturing.
that
Mm-hmm.
the
They need
nurturing that he
family
didn't
therapy
get.
then.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. But
Uh-huh.
also, within family, everybody be needing their individual child.
I mean, yeah,
Facts.
absolutely.
Facts. But yeah, they a whole
But Big Jamie needs
different mess.
like he needs therapy him damn self because how he communicated that whole thing and then decided to do that at his son's Jason's party. I feel like that was so damn out of line.
It
Now,
wasn't the time.
granted, I was team Jamie on some of that stuff. Like,
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
when Jamie was texting him and he told that boy, I think his son said he ain't had no job or something. Jamie said, and I still don't understand why you don't. Like, I hollered. I thought that was the funniest thing. Like, yeah, you didn't get that job, but you need to be out here hustling, trying to get another job. But for you to try and throw up in our
Mm-hmm.
face about, oh, what this girl doing for me and her family and this and that, I don't give a fuck what she doing because I've been doing everything for you for the past so many years.
He said for
Now it's time for you to
28
do it for
years,
yourself.
30
And then he
years.
throwing up the grandma. Grandma did it. I would have asked grandma. Grandma would have did. Grandma, okay, well then go ask her then. But you over here asking your parents for it, and it was giving a bit of entitlement, saying y'all know I ain't got no job. Okay, but you knew you didn't have a job as well, and you also knew you had probation to mess around and get yourself back in the same situation. Whose
Oh,
fault is that?
Rosemary Carter just made a really good point. I really do feel like they did so much for him to make up for what he had to see. I really do feel like Jamie did
Ooh.
a lot of like abusive, like, and it's not even just physical, y'all. Like I experienced the way men can talk to women, and it's not just women, but just I'm giving that as an example. But like the verbal abuse can sometimes be gut wrenching and cringy as fuck to have to sit through and listen to. So imagine if you little Jamie and you had to hear your daddy talking crazy to your mama all the time. And you probably be mad at your daddy, but your daddy does shit for you financially to kind of like, deal with the guilt of him knowing that he's doing shit he shouldn't be doing in front of you. So in the way of him trying to make
Mm-hmm.
up for what he's doing wrong, he's enabling you. So this is the version that we get of Lil Jamie because you enabled him to make up for what you were doing wrong in front of him. Like that's what it felt like. Cause what a comment at. It went up real quick. Rosemary said abusive men pamper their young sons so that they don't lose their respect while they're young and forget they are going to get older. Because
Mm.
like that's how I go. You see a man disrespect your mama so many times, you get real upset about that shit. So how else are you supposed to
Mm-hmm.
keep the love of that child that you view as a smaller version of yourself? You give them everything that they want and you think that they should have, but that
Mm.
coddles them and turns them into an entitled little fucking brat.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
But he still seems so soft, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like I mean, he doesn't seem as aggressive. It really does seem like
Mm-hmm.
it's coming from like a hurt place, like I don't understand place. Like Jamie, when you said he was entitled in that conversation with Jamie, you absolutely
Mm-hmm.
right. But what I also heard was him feeling like he thought his dad had understood him, and so he
Oh
felt
yeah,
like
he said
he
that.
owed him. He
Mm-hmm.
it was a vulnerable thing. It was like I thought I could
Mm-hmm.
come to you because you saw that I was trying. You saw I'm trying to get the job. So if I come to you and ask you for help, I'm struggling, but at least I'm trying.
Trying.
So why you not help?
Yeah.
Why you beating up on me about it instead? So I think that was his mindset. But again, entitlement.
Something about I
Yeah.
just feel my heart is so heavy just even talking about him and seeing him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they really fucked him up for real. And it's the parents' lack of accountability and Arena not really saying nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Is it just
I
me?
don't
Why are
like
you
that.
hoarse? Why are you hoarse? And why do you look smaller than you did last season? Y'all, it
Who
looks
that? Talking about Jamie?
Arena. Arena looks
Arena?
like she's getting depleted, and Jamie looks like he's getting healthier. I don't know how to explain it.
Hmm.
Mm.
She's been hoarse. She was hoarse that first episode, and she also looks way skinnier up and around the neck and the face area. I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
that's about, but and y'all know how I be seeing shit on people that
Y'all know
everybody.
she be running around the block and stuff.
That's what I was thinking. What she say? She run 5 miles a day.
Oh, she's really
Yeah.
like she
They be.
worries me. She worries me. That's what I'm gonna say. When it come to her caring so much about how she look, and then coupled with this type of family dynamic and her personality and that nigga's personality,
Mm-hmm.
her worrying about her weight to that extent, that that worries me. That feels like eating disorder type shit.
I don't know. Yeah, it's some that family really be. I don't know. They have me a little worried for real, but it's something. I don't know. It's really something.
Yeah. Anything else on Love and Marriage DC? I feel like that could have been all.
Yeah, I think that was it. Since it ended there, we don't get winter until next week.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
Yeah. I mean,
I want to see the
okay, cool.
conflict.
Let me do these real quick. Thank you for the super chat. I am Diva Nicole. I watched an interview with Ashley the other night, and she said he now has to go to school 2 hours earlier than before, and this was in October, so it was still very new for him. Oh wow! Thank you
Mm.
for the super chat.
Child, I feel like I'm glad you said that
Hello.
shit because that made me think about Quick and that dad belly he got. I feel like, sir, you don't even have enough discipline.
Not the dad belly.
He do. You seen him in that shirt in that confessional. It look
I
terrible. How you
did.
that short with that belly?
I
You need
did.
to be working on your body. You want your son to have more discipline to get up in the morning than your ass do. Okay, because you could tell he not taking good care of himself. So I think it's so funny to me the way people
Hmm.
have these stark. He need to be a man. rules for their kids that haven't even fully formed their brains yet, and your old ass can't even do better by your body when
And
you
you
that
know
little.
what else? It makes me think about if he continues with the approach that he's taking, as much as he's trying not to have a Jamie and Jamie dynamic, he's
It's
gonna
gonna
mess
turn
around
into
and get
that.
a Jamie and Jamie dynamic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I
He
agree.
gonna have to chill on that. Yeah. Thank you so much for the super chat, Felicia. That's the dumbest thing a parent can say. I agree with Ashley, and I checked to ensure my 15-year-old daughter is up and moving for school.
You know what else?
Period.
You know what
What?
else?
Let's
I,
talk.
I also
What's
feel
up,
like,
Scotty?
hey Scotty.
Hey.
I
Hey,
also thought
Scotty.
about Robin on Real Housewives of Potomac and how she wasn't getting them kids up early for school. I think that for me, and I could be wrong, y'all, but it was something about my daddy already being up in the morning and setting the tone. Like
Mm-hmm.
the day has already started in my house by the time I wake up. I think it's
Yeah.
so much harder to wake up when everybody else is in your house sleep too. So it may, this may sound like some bullshit coming from somebody
That's
that ain't got
true.
no kids. But if you know your kid has to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, bitch, you need to be up at 5:30, preparing for him to get up. And that's just my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. At least for a little while until they like 16, 17, and then you can stop doing everything. But like
Uh-huh.
in those years, show them how to get themselves up in the morning ahead of time. You need to be showing them with how you live life, how they should handle themselves versus telling them and thinking that they're gonna do it. Because that's
Yeah,
really what
live by
I always
example.
say. Like that, yes, that example. My daddy used to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning automatic once he retired. So I would get breakfast damn near every morning sometimes just because he was just already up. Like, so for me, it helped me be able to get up in the morning knowing that my house was already moving along. Because when you got to get up and everything dark and everybody sleep, you do not want to get
Mm-hmm.
up. That's too much responsibility for a child. Uh-uh. I'm just saying. I could be wrong, but
You
do what you
sounds
want.
about right.
Thank you, Felicia, for the super chat. As I always say, a good parent is a parent for life. I'm a mother of two 23-year-olds, okay, and a 15-year-old. They live the living life lessons don't stop. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. I think there was one more. Thanks, Felicia. Oh, the love and life lessons. Thank you so much for the super chat. Okay,
Truancy,
I
true
think that was
story.
it.
That's another
Yeah,
thing. Like,
truancy is real.
yeah, like the kid
Hmm.
not gonna go to jail because they ain't gonna go to school. You gonna go to jail because they didn't go to
Right.
school.
That's
Say,
why I
look, they
said
got
Ashley
beat up
gonna do
at
that walk
school.
of shame by herself because Quick ain't gonna be there. He
Look,
gonna
with
be
her
at
flip
work.
Yeah.
flops
He
down to
gonna
the
have a
school.
show.
Right. That's why. Thank you, Evie, for the super chat. These people have unrealistic expectations for teenagers.
That's how I
Thank you for the
feel.
super
Man,
chat. I
teenagers
agree.
don't give a fuck about school. They don't.
Mm,
Lord.
that super chat is a good one.
Um, this one here. Or the other one. Roy Dale, thank you so much for the super chat. I think sometimes we get so caught up in trying to not spoil kids that we forget that it's normal to take care of other people in certain ways. My
Yeah.
parents used to make sure each other were up and they were grown. Period. Thank you so much, Roy Dale, for the super chat and that
Hmm.
comment. I appreciate that.
For real, because I mean, it's just common sense. If you know that people have to be up a certain time, it's hard for them to get up. You up already, or if
Right.
it's easier for you to rise, then you do the nudge. Hey, hey, come on, you got to get up, get up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Hmm.
not
Yeah,
that deep.
I agree. I agree. I just didn't like that he tried to equate it to being a man. That's where it was like,
Right.
okay, okay, you got to go, baby.
Toxic
And I
masculinity.
was
I
glad
swear to
Ashley
Yeah.
brought up the
president.
fact that he didn't have that, so he won't
Right.
understand that.
Right.
Well, not that he won't understand it, but it seems like
He
he's
don't see
focused
the
on not
value in
getting
it.
it because
He
he did.
doesn't think you need it.
Yeah, right.
Anytime somebody don't have something and they became successful, they feel like you don't need it. And that's not true. You don't realize what you're missing because you never had it. Okay?
Mm. Thank you for the super chat, EB. I noticed that children behavior is emulated. They have to lead by example. If there is no structure, then what do they think is gonna happen? And thank you so much for
Facts.
the super chat. I
Facts.
appreciate that. I'm telling y'all,
Agree.
why give him a few years on the air. He gonna have a Jamie in Jamie situation. We gonna see. We gonna see though. Anything else on Love and Marriage, DC?
Child, we can go on and on, but we should end it there.
Yeah.